So I thought I'd make a video on tips for meeting celebrities, or like how to meet celebrities. I've met a few, and there are a few things that I've kind of learned along the way that might help you if you want to meet your favorite famous person. So the first kind of thing is to live in a big city, which, because before I moved to London, I never met anyone famous except for like people in bands that me and my sister would go to concerts to. So it's pretty much, you have to obviously live in a big city where there's actually going to be famous people. You're not gonna meet someone in some small town, obviously. Another thing I'd recommend is joining Twitter, because it's a really good way to like find out what celebrities are going to be doing, if they're going to be at an event or do a book signing or something like that, or if, you know, some type of filming is going on, because that's actually how I heard about when they were filming the epilogue scene at King's Cross, as it was a trending topic on Twitter. So clicked on it, found out, oh, they've started filming at King's Cross, went down for, I think it was 3-4 days, and that was when I first saw the cast. So Twitter is definitely a good thing to use. Movie premieres are a really good thing to go to. That's how I met most of the cast of Harry Potter. With those, you have to have like a lot of patience and persistence though, because I camped out for 3 days for the last Harry Potter premiere, but I mean, obviously that's a big thing. But I've been to smaller ones, like I went to the premiere for Paul, and I got there, I think it was around 10 a.m. So usually you do have to get there, depending on like how big the premiere is going to be. You know, so if it's going to be like a really big premiere with like a lot of celebrities and stuff, it's good to get there like really early in the morning, like at like 5 or 6 a.m. If it's something that's not going to be as big, you know, like late morning, early afternoon, you can get there and still be fine. Another thing I'd recommend is going to a premiere that you don't care about before, kind of just to see how everything's usually set up and how it works and whatnot. Like that's what I did. The first premiere I ever went to was for Clash of the Titans, which I didn't really care about that much except for Sam Worthington. And so that was in Leicester Square, and I got to see, you know, how premieres are set up and, you know, where the celebrities usually come in and whatnot, and that helped me then for the Part 1 premiere of Deathly Hallows, because it was pretty much the same type of setup. I would also suggest like making friends with security and workers wherever you are at an event, because they're usually, I mean, if anything, they can help if you have a problem, if someone's like pushing you. I've had that happen where if you make friends with a security guard, they'll tell the person to stop pushing you. As well, like when I was at King's Cross for the filming of the epilogue scene for Harry Potter, there was this one construction worker or something, I don't know, that was there, and we kind of made friends with him, so he was like kind of our little inside person. And what ended up happening was they had these decoys, people with like a jacket or something over their head walk out, and we were made to think that was Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint. Says it was kind of a distraction, but then the worker, he came over and he said, no, that wasn't actually them, they were just decoys. The actors are going to be coming out a bit later. So if we hadn't known that, we probably would have already left thinking, oh, you know, they're already out of the building. So it's a good thing to make friends with people that work there, because they can give you an inside scoop. Another big piece of advice I have is don't scream or go crazy when there's a celebrity around, because that's a surefire way that they won't actually come over to you. I had that experience for the Deathly Hallows Part 1 premiere. Me and my friends got separated, and we were only separated by like 10 feet or something, but they had a bunch of screaming teenagers behind them, and pretty much no one came over to them because these girls were screaming and pushing. Whereas me, 10 feet down the barricade, and I got to meet a lot more people than they did. So I would suggest trying, I mean, believe me, you can freak out as much as you want inside. Usually I am, and I'm completely losing control, but you have to stay calm on the outside. Otherwise, people aren't going to come over. Things like, you know, shouting their name or something, that's fine. I've done that all the time. Damian Lewis kind of knew me as that crazy girl calling him over, that's alright. But don't be like screaming, insane, going crazy, because they're not going to come over to people like that. I would also say not to be shy or scared when meeting a celebrity, which is really hard to do, so what I always do is kind of prepare in advance kind of what I want to say, especially if it's like when I met Simon Pegg at his book signing. I really thought about what I wanted to say. It's kind of harder to do that at movie premieres because there's so many celebrities and stuff, but just kind of like think about it beforehand of what you want to say to this person, because it's also much better for them. Because like when I met Simon Pegg at the book signing, and my book came up and I was all smiling and talky and stuff, and he's like, "You're a really smiley, happy person." And of course, but you know, I saw these people before me and they would just go up, like barely even make eye contact, and just like kind of go along their way. And that pays off, because then at the premiere for Paul, I met Simon Pegg again and was just gushing about how much I love him, and then he's like, "I remember you." So yeah, that kind of made all the blood kind of rush from my head. But so if you're, you know, you want to make an impression on this person, like chances are they mean a lot to you, so you kind of don't want to screw up usually that one chance that you know have to say what you want to them. So I always kind of think about beforehand what I want to say to the person. I would say persistence and patience is kind of one big thing that you really have to have, because I would wait hours just to meet some of these people that I've met. So, and I mean, that's not for everyone. I'm kind of crazy. So usually, I mean, if you don't wait around, you're not gonna get to see the person or whatever. So I always say be persistent and be patient, because usually it pays off. Sometimes you're waiting longer than others, like if you go to a movie premiere, but it usually has paid off for me. So I would say those are two good virtues to have. Those are the most important tips that I can think of. There's certainly a lot more, I'm sure. I have more friends that are more skilled than I am at meeting celebrities, but just kind of be aware of events and where people are going to be. And honestly, like, I don't think I've ever had a bad experience meeting a celebrity. You know, I waited at the stage door once for Caitlyn and Damian Lewis, and they were absolute sweethearts. So it's really, you kind of, as long as you're willing to wait, and you know if you know a celebrity's going to be somewhere, usually if you wait, you're probably going to meet them, as long as you're, again, not being crazy. So yeah, that's the best tips that I have. I'm sure there's more, but those are the ones that I've kind of found have helped me in my celebrity sightings.